everyone, it's Jessica. I'm excited today to be scrapbooking these three 3x4 photos of a recent trip that my husband and I took. So if you are looking for a little inspiration for your travel pictures, I hope that today's layout is going to help you out. Now I am participating in a hop here on YouTube based around this sketch from Page Maps. So make sure to check out the description box down below to see the other ladies who are playing along. But I pulled these papers from my June Hip Kit Club collection to pull together for that layout. I also have a couple of pieces of cardstock in that orange color. I've got Nectarine and Paprika, and those are both from my Close to My Heart stash. So I really wanted to pull in a little bit of that orange because of the photos here. And so I'm going to mat those three pictures on that Nectarine cardstock. Now, I do love Page Maps, but the thing about it is it doesn't really have any dimensions on there to guide you. So I did my best just to kind of guess how to cut all of my papers down. This Paprika piece is going to end up getting die cut, and it's just going to have a little bit peeking out of the top and the bottom. So I cut it down to 3x6. That way I don't have to have a full piece of cardstock in there. And then as far as the blue strip that's going to be dovetailed going across the center of the page, I cut that one at 2x11.5. And then my main pattern piece here is at 6x11 inches. So once I get these cut, I'm going to lay them all out on my base page just to make sure that I did a good job guessing how to pull this pattern together. Now I'm not building this on a piece of white cardstock. I actually decided to do it on a really subtle pattern paper, also from that same Hip Kit Club collection. And I like the way that it looks. It just has a really nice little light gray pattern and just gives a little something extra. So like I said, I'll end up die cutting those two orange pieces. And that pattern does show like a torn notebook edge on that part. And so I actually have a die that I've never even used yet. I'm excited about this. That will cut exactly that. So I'll go ahead and die cut that later off camera. And then I felt like some of my pattern pieces were kind of blending in too much with that background page. So I will take a little bit of time to add some inking to the edges of almost all of my papers, and then I'll start kind of pulling all of this together. All right, so nothing is glued down except for my photo mat. I've got my pictures on that. And I'm just wanting to kind of go through the embellishments that came along with these papers to see what I can use. Now, this particular Hip Kit Club from June was all about travel. And when I got it, I was like, well, there's some fun stuff in here, but we don't actually do a whole lot of traveling. But then this July, my husband and I did actually take a trip out to New England, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the story behind these photos later, but it just kind of worked out perfectly for all of these embellishments. Now on the sketch, it does show this little piece here for some journaling, and it actually is meant to go at the bottom, but I think I'm going to move mine to the top. Now, this is a rub-on piece that has just like a cityscape, and it's really kind of cool, and it's in that gray, same color as my background page there. And I thought maybe it'd be fun just to kind of add it as a little subtle touch. So I cut it out so I could get a better feel for what it might look like. And I contemplated putting it down here in that bottom left corner. I'm not really sure about it, so I'm going to keep going through the rest of my embellishment pieces. Now I have a whole bunch of die cuts, which actually worked out perfectly for this layout. Everything came together so quickly because I didn't really have to do any stamping or, anything to create my own embellishments. It was all just right there, so it was perfect. So I just spent a little bit of time sorting through this huge stack and then setting things off to the side that I might possibly want to use. And there were a lot of really good ones in there. And a couple of the ones that I pulled out have something to do with the idea of like, let's go or let's wander, which worked out perfectly for my photos. So this trip actually just took place not that long ago, and we were flying out of Detroit the morning after the big internet fiasco happened globally that kind of brought the airlines and all sorts of other things, to a screeching halt. And so we got to the airport that morning thinking that we were going to fly out to Boston And no, we were not able to do that because our flight was canceled. And so we had to wait in line for 3 full hours to get to talk to our Delta representative. And she was able to move us to a standby flight to Providence, Rhode Island instead. And we were like, well, we're not really sure, where that is in relation to where we're ultimately trying to go, because we were going to be doing like a little trip around like Maine and New Hampshire and Massachusetts. We had a couple of different destinations, but we just sort of went with it. And we were like, wherever you can get us that is like remotely in that area, we'll take it, and it'll be an adventure and we'll make it work. So that's kind of what this layout is all about. I do have a lot of other pictures, obviously, from this trip, but this particular page is just going to be telling the story about our adventure of trying to get where we were going because of that global event. All right, so I did a little bit of inking to that journaling piece just because it was blending in a little bit too much, so I added a little bit of green ink to it. And now I'm playing around with a bunch of those different die cut pieces that I pulled out from that Hip Kit Club collection. And this one here, I was laughing. I'm like, I definitely need to use this because it's got like bus, Uber, taxi. It's got like a list of different modes of transportation. And at one point we were kind of saying that to ourselves, like, well, if we can get here, then what other kind of transportation could we use to get to the next stop that we need to go? So I thought that that was appropriate. I really liked this map, especially because it brought in a bunch of different colors. And so I think I'm going to move that up to the top. And I like this here. Let's go here, because it was kind of like, where are we going to go? We'll go anywhere, wherever you want to send us. So like I said, just kind of a lot of fun little sayings on here that worked out perfectly for the story of the pictures. So I do spend quite a bit of time kind of moving things around, and I don't use everything that I had pulled out from that pack. In fact, there was a lot that I wanted to use, but I kind of felt like I was starting to get too many words on my page. I don't know how you guys go about doing your titles. Usually I have like one big title, and then I don't mind if I have like a sticker or a stamp or a die cut that's got, more words or sentiments or sayings on it. But I kind of usually have like the one main title. But because I was adding so many different words to my embellishment clusters, I actually decided not to do like a big title because I felt like it was enough as it was. And so that kind of limited what die cuts I ended up picking. I was like, okay, what do I have on here that's not going to add any more words to the page, because I think I have enough. And then I kind of went back and forth over this bottom cityscape piece in the bottom left corner. I didn't know if I wanted to do the rub-on or if I wanted to do the little die cut piece. Both of them have the cityscape, which I thought was kind of fun. And I was thinking if I did the rub-on, then I would do maybe some like, thickers or something for a big title over the top. But again, I was like, no, I don't think I want to add the big title. So I'm going to go ahead and do the one that is the die cut piece, just because it brings in a couple more colors down to the bottom corner, and I liked that. So I did layer a little phrase strip over the top of that. And then as far as this journaling piece, my intention is for it to have a little pocket behind the photo, so that way I can slide it in and out, as people are looking at the scrapbook, and they can kind of pull it out, read the journaling, and put it back in. So I needed to use a little bit of foam tape to create that pocket. Now, I recently bought this sticky thumb foam tape. I've never used this brand before, but I actually bought like a lot of it because I was nearly out of my foam tape that I had from Close to My Heart. And, the brand is called Sticky Thumb. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there's a reason for it. It is so sticky. It was so sticky. It was like sticking to my fingers as I was trying to pull it off the roll and get it stuck down to the page. My scissors are supposed to be like non-stick scissors, and I've never had anything stick to them before. This foam tape was sticking to them. It was a bit of a nightmare to use, actually. So I'm like a little nervous about having so much of it that I've just bought, and now the first time using it, I'm like not really loving it. So if you've ever used that brand before, leave me a comment down below and let me know how your experience has been with it. I'm wondering if because I bought it this summer and it's been very hot outside, I wonder if just, shipping in the mail and that heat kind of made some of that adhesive go a little crazy, and maybe it's not normally like that. So I'm kind of hoping that that's the case and it's not just so incredibly sticky all the time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these embellishments down, and I'm going to go back to my close to my heart foam tape so I don't have things stuck to my fingers. And I'll put some flat down to the page and then some popped up a little bit on some thin foam tape. And I do end up having like 4 different embellishment clusters as opposed to the 3 that I normally go for. But I thought that it worked out okay. And so I'm just trying to bring in some color to a bunch of different places here. Yeah, and so I liked this sketch. Like I said, it worked out perfectly for just the few photos I had from the airport to kind of start telling the story of this adventure. And the other thing that I forgot to mention is that in addition to using this particular sketch, all of the ladies who are participating today are using the same theme. So the theme was life's celebrations, and that's why my husband and I were on this trip. Our birthdays are 5 days apart, and then our anniversary is like a week and a half after my birthday. And so it's just kind of a joint birthday / anniversary trip. So we were just kind of celebrating all of the things, the two of us on this little getaway that ended up being quite the adventure, because then on the way home, our flight was also canceled. And after being on hold on the phone for 3 hours, we decided just to drive home from Massachusetts all the way back to Michigan, which took us a day and a half. And yeah, we were happy to finally get home. So I did put a little bit of ribbon through the top of my journaling tag there just to make it easier when I have it in the page for somebody to pull it out. I will probably cut a little slit in my page protector in my scrapbook and kind of feed that tag through the slit down into that pocket that I created, so that way the person doesn't have to actually reach down into the page protector to pull out the journaling to read it. And then as a final little touch, I have grabbed some of the coordinating enamel dots that came with this whole June hip kit collection that I'm working with here. And I have a couple of the hearts that I used. And then there were only 2 hearts in there, so I had to switch over to a different shape. And I tried using the geotag, but it was just a little too big. So then I think I grabbed the arrow instead, and I put it next to my other little blue arrow. And that is going to be it for this page. Like I said, it came together quite quickly, and I was really excited to tell the story while it was still so fresh in my mind. I will leave some links in the description down below to the other ladies who are creating based on not only the sketch, but also this month's theme. And we are doing this every second Friday of the month, so be sure to check back and see what we do next. All right, guys, thanks for being here with me, and I hope you're having a good day. Happy crafting. Bye.